Okay, so we're about to dive into a piece of art that's, well, it's so much more than just paint on a canvas. It's really a scream, it's a protest, and it's this timeless monument to the absolute horror of war. This is the story of Guernica.
So here it is, Guernica, Pablo Picasso's absolutely monumental anti-war masterpiece. I mean, just try to imagine the scale. It's 11 feet tall and 25 feet wide. It's just overwhelming. The whole thing is this powerful storm of black, white, and gray, a totally chaotic vision of suffering. You've got a gored horse, a stoic bull, screaming mothers. But to really get a feel for its power, we need to go back, way back, to the event that lit Picasso's fury. So you have to ask, what could possibly drive an artist to create something so raw, so completely visceral? What was the story that was just demanding to be told on such an epic scale? Well, our story doesn't start in a fancy Parisian art studio. No, it begins in a small, peaceful town in the Basque country of Spain. Before the bombs fell, Guernica was the heart of Basque culture. Just try to picture it, a quiet town where maybe the biggest commotion was the weekly market day. It was a place full of tradition and community. It was a symbol of identity, not some kind of military target. But then, on April 26, 1937, right in the middle of the Spanish Civil War, that peace was completely shattered. And this wasn't a battle. It was something new, an experiment in a new kind of warfare carried out by Nazi Germany's Air Force, all the request of Spanish nationalist forces. For 3 terrifying hours, the sky just rained fire. And get this, the attack was deliberately timed for market day. Why? To ensure the maximum number of civilian casualties. This wasn't just a bombing. It was a calculated act of terror, something designed to completely break the human spirit. And this was the result. The town was gone. In its place, only rubble and ash. Guernica became this haunting prophecy, a terrible glimpse into the brutal future of total war that would soon just engulf the entire world. And the horror didn't stop with the bombs. As the journalist George Steer reported for The Times, even the people who fled to the fields were hunted down, machine-gunned from the air. This was the new face of war. There was no sanctuary. There was no escape. The news of this atrocity, of course, spread like wildfire across the world, and one artist in Paris, Pablo Picasso, was about to channel all of his horror onto a giant canvas. So this act of just senseless violence would become the catalyst for this incredible, explosive burst of creativity. For Picasso, the bombing of Guernica wasn't just news, it was a personal call to action. You know, Picasso had been really struggling. He had this big commission from the Spanish Republic for the Paris World's Fair, but he basically had painter's block. And then the news from Guernica came in. Suddenly, he had his subject. He had his mission. This wasn't just a commission anymore. It was a call to arms. Fueled by this incredible rage and grief, Picasso worked with a kind of superhuman intensity. In just 37 days, 37, this monumental canvas was complete. I mean, that's just an astonishing feat of artistic creation. And thankfully for us, his partner, the photographer Dora Maar, she documented the whole process. And her photos give us this amazing, unique window right into his mind, showing how the painting evolved from its very first chaotic lines on that massive canvas. You can actually see how he composed and decomposed the figures, constantly shifting elements around, fitting and disengaging them until every single piece found its place in the tragic but somehow perfectly balanced harmony of the final work. For Picasso, this painting was not for decoration. Not at all. As he said himself, it was an instrument of war. It was his weapon against fascism, his defiant cry against injustice, his vow that the world would never, ever forget Guernica. I mean, just look at the physicality of that fight here. He's using ladders and brushes strapped to long sticks just to confront the sheer scale of the tragedy he was depicting. He was pouring all of his anger and grief right onto that canvas. Now, the artwork became a global symbol, right? It traveled the world as a protest against fascism and war. But back in Spain, the town of Guernica itself had to find its own way to carry its memory forward. So how does a place even begin to recover from a trauma like that? Let's go back to Guernica today, where the memory of the past is a living, breathing lesson for the future. Today, the Guernica Peace Museum stands as a place of remembrance and education. But it's not some silent memorial. No, it takes visitors right back to April 26, 1937, with recreations and survivor testimonies. But it also does something really important. It connects that history to modern conflicts and peace processes. So it's not just about what happened. It's about learning from it. The museum focuses on reconciliation, on dialogue, and on the absolutely vital importance of human rights in preventing future atrocities. This legendary exchange, it just says it all, doesn't it? The painting is a mirror, and it forces us to confront the brutality that we're all capable of. It's this timeless indictment of the human cost of war. And so, the legacy of Guernica, both the town and the painting, is this powerful paradox. From the ashes of unimaginable destruction, this timeless and vital call for peace rises up. And it's a memory that we just can't afford to forget.